Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Esther. Welcome back guys. First of all, can we give Jesus and myself a round of applause with how consistent I have been being for the past like 2 to 3 weeks. Honestly guys, if you know how hard it is to film content on a week to week basis, you would give me a huge round of applause. So let's just give it up for God. Glory be to his name, because honestly, normally I'm good with just bringing out or publishing 3 videos back to back for the 3 weeks, and then I go on like a month or 2 month break and say, after that break, I say, hi guys, I don't have any excuses for why I've been gone for so long. Just know that I'm lazy and I've been procrastinating. But I said, no matter how I feel on the day of filming, because I have like a filming day now, I am going to get out of bed and I'm going to film. No matter how many things that are going through my head that I have to do, it does not matter. I've decided that this is the day I'm going to film, and I'm going to film. So today, we've got a good video for you. I pray that you all enjoy my content, but even more than that, I pray that you're just filled by the Spirit through my content, and even after watching my content, it just leads you closer to God, because that's literally just my desire for this YouTube channel. I pray that it's never going to be about me and me entertaining you guys, but it's always going to be about him and his kingdom. But today, because I feel like I haven't done like a book video in a while, the last video that I did was me explaining how I've like stopped reading secular romance books, or I've tried to stop reading secular romance books because they're not necessarily clean, they're quite sexually explicit, the ones that I had been reading in the past. So I recommended you some Christian fiction books. Well, today I'm going to give you a rundown of the books that I gave 5 stars last year, 2023, and why I gave them 5 stars. But today I'm just going to share with you guys the books that I gave 5 stars last week. Was last week 2023, Esther? No, last year, 2023. I read in total 10 or 11 books, but I didn't give all of them 5 stars. Like, some of them were 4 stars, some of them were 4.5, some of them were 3.5, some of them were 2.5. I gave some low ratings last year because the books that I gave 5 star, I was automatically comparing every other book that comes after it to those books. And even this year, nothing is hitting like the books that I read last year. And it's really hurting my soul because I want to read a 5 star again. I've had to actually go back to rereading one of my favorite books just to get me back into the mood and the swing of reading, because I've just not been feeling it this year. And we're in the month of March already. I've read 2 books already in 2023, but both of them were 3.5 stars. In my opinion. One of them was a non-fiction book, and it was Relate by Pastor Bimbo Folalade, which is a great book on dating and how to relate as a Christian, how to, actually date as a Christian, and also how to, actually enjoy your season of singleness. Because one thing that I loved about that book is that it discussed singleness majority of the book, and then it went into dating. Some Christian dating books just kind of focus on like how to find the one, but Pastor Bimbo always focuses on how to actually be the one and how to actually enjoy the season of singleness that God has given you. But because I'm not really into non-fiction like that anymore, like I'll read it, I only gave it 3.5 because I was just like, yeah, it was good and it educated me, and I thank God for my pastor, but at the same time, I just want a good fiction book, you know what I'm saying? Then the next book that I read was by Joan Enbola. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I'll insert a picture of her book here, and it's called The One Who Knows Me. Now that book was cute. It was a cute, cringy book. I say cringy because like it was based on 2 characters that are going to college, Jaden and this is how I know that it's 3.5, because I can't even remember the other character. But the guy was called Jaden, and the other girl, I can't remember her name, but basically they go to college. One is having like a crisis of faith when it comes to Christianity because she's experienced so much. She experienced her dad losing her job. She experienced like grief, death in her family. So she's finding it hard to actually believe in God. But then Jaden, another person that has experienced so much in his personal life and his family life. I'm not going to tell you like the spoilers in case you actually want to read it yourself. But he is getting back to God. So after having a crisis of faith, he's getting back to actually being in relationship and communion with God. And he meets this girl that is having a crisis of faith, becomes friends with her, obviously falls in love with her, and they go on this journey together to try and understand God together. He is basically trying to evangelize to her while also falling in love with her at the same time. And it was a nice book. I gave it 3.5. I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't read it again because it didn't grip me. It didn't like make me go like, wow, like this is so amazing. The love story was cute. It was giving like what a college romance would give. And I am a big fan of the author because she's done multiple books, multiple Christian fiction books, and I would still read her books because there's actually 3 other books that she's already bought out and she's about to bring out a 4th one. So I'm definitely going to read those 3 other books, but I'm hoping the other 3 are like better than the first one, because the first one I was expecting it to be a 5 out of 5 and it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling, which is fine. For you guys, it might give you a 5-star feeling, but for me, I think I've become more harsher on my ratings because of these books that I read last year. I talked 7 minutes about books that I didn't give 5-star, but I'm going to now talk about the books that I did give 5 stars to last year. So the first book is no stranger to my channel, and it is Beyond My Dreams by Olajumoke Adenowo. Guys, I just want to hug this book. I just want to reflect on the goodness of this book. I'm actually rereading it now currently, and I'm on page 182, and I'm enjoying it as much as I did the first time. Beyond My Dreams is a fantastically, superbly constructed book. It is just amazing. Olajumoke, you did, Auntie Olajumoke, let me put some respect on your name. You did your thing. You knew what you were doing with this book. I had heard about this book in the past from like my friends. I'd heard about it on social media. I'd seen multiple people from my church read it as well. And I was just like, you know what, guys? You keep screaming that this book is good. I am going to go and get it. I got it last year, started reading it in maybe February last year or March last year. And then I got like through the first like 50 pages and I was just like, I don't know why these people are telling me that this book is good, because I'm not getting it. The first 50 pages were just kind of all over the place. It was almost like she was giving you so much, like so much plot, so much suspense, but I wasn't really understanding like what is actually going on in this book, what is actually the main synopsis of this book. So I stopped for a couple of weeks after getting through the first 50 pages. And then after like reading some other books, I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to Beyond My Dreams. I'm going to give it another try. Best decision I could have made, because after those 50 pages, sometimes people tell you that it takes you like maybe 100 pages to fully understand if you're going to like a book. But for me, I want to like a book from the first page because I'm kind of an impatient person. If I don't like it for like from the first 10 pages, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time reading this book. But now, after reading this book, I know that I should not judge a book by the first like couple of pages. I should actually go deeper before making my actual decision on whether or not I'm going to like it. So I continue this book, and boy, excuse me, boy, hey, this book is amazing. So if you've watched my previous video, I did give you like a synopsis of the book, but I'm going to give it to you again. So the 2 main characters in this book is Candice Ashaya and Morola. Let me say it's like a Nigerian, Morola, but people call her in this book Rolla. And Morola is from America. She runs a successful business in New York, but she comes back to Nigeria to do her youth service. If you don't know what that is basically you have to do youth service in Nigeria to actually get a job, I think. If I'm getting that wrong, please comment down below. But she came back from America because she wanted to start like a new company in Nigeria, and she's not able to do that if she doesn't do her youth service. Then we have Candice Ashaya, the other protagonist, using my fancy language there, and he is from a very privileged background, a Muslim background. He has a wealthy father who we just call Alaji in this book, and basically he has been away from his family for I think it was like 20 years, basically decades, because of something that happened between him and his father and his second wife. So he comes back from America because he actually was living in America and he studied in America. He also got into the military in America as well too. Then he comes back to Nigeria and joins the army in Nigeria too. And everything starts interlining with Morella and Candace's story, because Morella actually saved Candace's younger brother's life. Now, I'm not going to go into deep detail because I want you to read this book for yourself. So then after all of that happened, she then meets Candace's father, Alaji, and, you know, starts to get closer to the family because Candace's father offers her a job. Now, another thing that you have to do in youth service in Nigeria is basically like an internship. So after you have served at the camp for a couple of weeks, you then go to a workplace and serve there for like a year or so. So Candace's dad was like, because you saved my son's life, I'm going to give you a job. Gives her a job, and that is where she finally meets Candace Ashaya. Candace Ashaya is blown away by this babe, Morella. The way that Morella is described as well too, I know she'll be a fine babe if they ever do a movie or a series on her, which I'm praying one day they do, because do you know how amazing this book would be as a movie? As a Nigerian Nollywood movie, it would be chef kiss. So Candace meets Morella and it's love at first sight for him. And Candace, as much as he's growing up in a Muslim family, because he left his family 20 years ago, he then discovered God, the Christian God, in America, and he's now a very strong Christian and believes in God. So at that moment that he meets Morella, he then hears God saying, this is the one for you. And Candace is like, sorry, I mean, I know this babe is beautiful and she's really nice and, you know, she's done a lot of things to help my family, but I don't know her from anywhere and you're telling me that this is my wife. So after that, obviously hearing that from God, he falls deeper in love with her and starts to, you know, make his intentions known very clearly. Like, all you men, Christian men, should learn from Candace. Because that boy didn't play. I can't lie, if any guy moved to me like the way that Candace moved to Morella, I'd be looking at you like, God send help. Because the way that this guy moved to Morella was just like, yeah, you know, you're going to be my wife. I love you and I can't, you know, explain away this love that I have for you. God has given me this love, and it's not just something that's like, you know, physical or fleshly or lust. It's based on the love of God. And obviously Morella, because she's been through a lot in her past when it comes to love, something happened between her own parents that makes her believe that love doesn't exist, that men of God don't really exist. So she meets Candace, and Candace is making all these loving declarations, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in you. I'm going to put you in the friend zone. Yes, I feel like I have some feelings towards you that God is telling me to explore more, but I'm not going to listen. I'm going to run. I can very much relate with Morella, can't lie. But at the same time, the more she spent time with him, the more she spent time getting to know him, the deeper that she falls for him, and the more revelation she receives from God that this is the person for her. So Beyond My Dreams is a story about love. It's a story about redemption. It's a story about like politics as well too. You learn so much about Nigerian politics and like corruption as well, because obviously Candace is in the army, but he has his own like side business that he does that makes him get more involved within the politics of Nigeria. It's a story that just makes your heart burn. And as much as I am a lover girl, I love romance. I love their story, but I also love like the realness, and it made me feel seen as a woman as well too, as a Christian woman that, okay, maybe has been guarded in the past against love and like the love that God wants to bring into my life. Actually reading a character like Morella opens my eyes to see that like God can be trusted with your love story, and God can be trusted with your desires as well too, because Morella had to go from a journey of, you know, breaking down her walls and her guards to actually accepting the man that God has given her. So I love this book. It's a 5 out of 5. Again, it's still a 5 out of 5 even as I'm rereading it, and I cannot wait to finish this book. And anybody that knows me personally that's watching this video, if you want to borrow this book, let me know. First comment that says they want to borrow this book, I will give it to you after I finished reading it. You can some people found it hard to purchase because when I put it on my Instagram, they were like, where did you get it from? And I had to get it from Amazon, but I had to do like a deep dive. And I got it from like a second-hand bookstore. That's where I got it from. So just type in Beyond My Dreams on Amazon. Auntie Olajumoke, I need a part 3. I need a part 3 of this book because the way that this book ended was a cliffhanger. I'm thinking, well, you have to write another book then, because the story is not finished. Morella and Candace's story, Koto, is not finished. So please, Auntie Jumoke, please bring out a part 3. I beg you, because it's actually 2 parts in this book. That's why it's so long, because there's part 1 and part 2. But yeah, 5 out of 5. All right, the next book that I will always give a 5 out of 5 is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Now, before any of you guys laugh at me and say, I thought you said that you don't read secular book anymore, that you only read Christian fiction. This book is clean. It's a teenage book. It's a young adult fiction book. So it's clean to an extent. Like, yes, there is some scenes, but it's like closed door, which means that the author doesn't go into detail about what they did behind closed door. But forever and ever will this be in my heart as a book, because it is the first book that I read as a teenager that really got me back into reading. Now, if you don't know what The Fault in Our Stars is about, I don't know where you've been. Have you been under a rock? Were you not reading as a teenager? Did you not watch the movie? But if you didn't know, I'm here to tell you now. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green is about 2 teenagers, Hazel and Augustus. Hazel suffers from cancer, so does Augustus, but he's in remission. Now, I'm not going to give you the major spoiler of this book because that would just ruin the premise of the book, but they meet at this cancer support group, and the support group is for different people that have either struggled with cancer, are in remission, or still have cancer. So Hazel is being forced by her mom to go to this cancer support group. She goes, and then here comes Augustus. Augustus is in remission from cancer, and he literally goes to support group to support his best friend Isaac, who also has cancer. Now, of course, because it's a teenage love story and it's about like star-crossed lovers kind of, they like each other from the get-go. From the get-go, I mean, Hazel is kind of like, who is this guy that is so confident and is talking about all these things that has nothing to do with him? Like, he's in remission, whatever. And then Augustus is like, this girl is so smart. Hazel is so smart. She's so confident. She's always speaking about these things. And after the cancer support group, they bump into each other, and Augustus is like, do you want to come to my house and hang out with me? Now, obviously, books are not meant to reflect reality that much. They're meant to, help you escape into an alternate reality. So in real life, if a guy is moving to you and telling you to come to his yard, don't go. Please. But this is just a book. So then they start hanging out, they start texting, they start sharing book recommendations. They basically start a nice friendship, but obviously while still having feelings for each other at the same time. Hazel is like, look, I know that you're starting to get feelings for me, but I'm a ticking time bomb. Like, I'm going to die, and I don't want you to be upset when I've died and like go through this period of grief. So she tries to like stay away from him and keep her guard up. But Augustus you can't ignore Augustus. You can't ignore a cute guy like Augustus that is really just trying to care for you and understand you. Now, the major spoiler in this book, I can't say, but all I will say that is this is a pure form of storytelling. I love John Green. I've read multiple of his books as a young adult and even as an adult now as well. I've read so many of his books, and every single one of his books I've fallen in love with, but this has to be my top fave. And I reread it last year because I was just like, I'm not finding anything interesting in all the books that are on my TBR, which means to be read. So I'm just going to reread this, and I finished it in less than a week because it was so good. I cried again. I cried again. I've watched the movie. I know the ending multiple times. I know what's going to happen. And yet I still cry. I don't understand this. But yeah, no book in this world apart from the Bible has tugged at my heartstrings and my emotions the way that The Fault in Our Stars have. So I recommend, even if you're 30 years old and this is a young adult fiction, still read this book. And then watch the movie, which is available on Disney Plus. So good, amazing, chef kiss. Now, the next book that I want to talk about is part of a series. Again, I've talked about this series on my recommendations for Christian fiction YouTube video, which I'll link here. This series, it is called the Still series by Eniola Prentice. Eniola, man, your pen holds glory. It holds glory. Like, I'm so happy that last year I discovered so many African American authors or Nigerian authors, Christian authors that can write, that I can look up to for inspiration. Because one thing that I do struggle with as a Christian fiction writer is understanding, like, am I actually going to be successful in this? Are people actually going to read this? And people like Olajumoke, Adenowo, and Eniola Prentice really gave me more clarity and insight into what Christian fiction is and how well you can do it. This Still series, shout out to Tommy, by the way, Tommy Lola, that recommended me this. My life has not been the same since this book. I've not found another book that is as good as this. And it's been, I finished the last book in October. It's been like how many months since I've read this series, and I still have not found anything that compares to this. And it's hurting me. It's irking me because I'm like, am I ever going to read a book that's as good as this again? I don't know. So the Still series is about a friendship group. So four main characters that go to medical school together in America. But two of these main characters are connected because they share a major secret between them. Now, trigger warnings, there's for this book, there is rape, themes of suicide, depression, grief, loss. So please beware of those trigger warnings before you actually read this book. But these college students go to medical school. So there's Shola, there's Laddie, there is Nikki and Tayo. Those are the four main characters. Now, Nikki and Tayo are like this. Laddie and Shola are like this. So those are the two main love stories. But obviously, Shola and Tayo share a secret, a deep secret between them that only Shola remembers. The books basically take them, because it's a multiple account, so you will read Shola's account, you'll read Laddie's account, you'll read Tayo's account, you'll read Nikki's account. The book takes them through their journey of medical school while trying to, pass their exams, but also falling in love with these people in their friendship group and understanding their faith with God as well too. Because a lot of them have either a crisis of faith or a strong faith. So Laddie's only really the only one that kind of has like a deep relationship with God. Meanwhile, Nikki, yes, she grew up in a Christian home, but she is still trying to get to know God. Tayo knows of God because of Laddie and they're close friends, but doesn't really understand who God is. Shola, because of everything that she's gone through in her past, kind of tries to run away from God. And is the reason why I love this book is that it's so realistic in the way that it explains the different characters' journeys and what they're going through. Now, obviously, I went to uni like three years ago and I graduated like 2 years ago. So it made me think about the different things that I was going through at uni as well too. I didn't study medicine, I studied journalism, but I could very much relate with these characters and I can very much relate with the crisis that they had with God in their relationship while being at school. The reason why I'm only showing you this, because there's four books, 3 are currently out. The last one is not out yet because Eniola, she takes her time writing these books. There's like 3 years between every single book that she's written. So this book, the second book, is my favorite out of the series. This book hooked me. This book made me think, oh my God, the gift of writers is out of this world. Like, once God breathes on something, it just transforms you and it blows your mind. So this is my favorite book out of the series. It's called Mercy. All of her books are available on Amazon, or if you go on her Instagram page as well too. And please, Eniola, after what happened, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. After what happened and the last book broke my heart. I was crying for days. for days in my bed thinking, no, this is not real. I had to reread it multiple times. But after the last book, I Need You. I know that you just had a baby. I know that you are a doctor and you have a bit busy schedule. I'm not disputing that, but please, I beg you in the name of God, if you can just bring out the 4th book this year, I will be so happy. I will be so happy because I need answers. I need answers. So yeah, Still series, I recommend every single one of the books, but my favorite book was the second one, Mercy. The first book is called Still, the second book is called Mercy, the last book is called Love. So guys, those are the books that I rated 5 stars last year. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope this makes you want to read more Christian fiction or just read more in general. Like, I know for some people you don't enjoy reading, you don't really know where to start, but once you find that one book, that first book that captivates you and just hooks you in from the beginning, I promise you your reading journey will just go from up. Yes, you may not read a 5-star every single month or every single week, but you will enjoy reading. And as well, I can't believe these books have taught me so much about God, and it's fiction. But it just reminds me of like the different stories in the Bible. They're not fiction, but the way that they are told through the author's lens really helps me understand God's nature and character, the same way that this fiction books help me understand God's nature and character too. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be doing more book content on this channel because I love to read. I'll be sharing you different non-fiction books that have helped me on my Bible study journey as well too, because I think that would be very helpful for you guys. But until next time, stay blessed, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe because we are on the road to 500 subscribers. So yeah, please share with anybody that you think is going to benefit from this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.